It is finally time to talk about Dressrosa, one of the most highly regarded arcs in One Piece. And I just gotta say, Dressrosa is top 2 arcs in One Piece, right next to Marineford. Cause bro, I didn't really know what to expect halfway, because honestly, I gotta be honest with you, Doflamingo made this arc memorable. Him alone, that's my guy, that's my GOAT, one of my top 5 characters already. And then you got Law, then my boy Zoro had some moments. Obviously Luffy had his time and his moment of being a great leader, captain, pirate, all that stuff. But I gotta say, the storytelling was something else. It's every side plot that was incorporated with Dressrosa or foreshadowed upon Kaiser, it was done really damn good. We gotta talk about Dressrosa, the island first. The island definitely felt like a weird mix between real life, like Spain, Italy, or something like that, mixed with Disneyland. Because you got living people as toys, that's part of the society. Which even then, the backstory to how everyone's turned into toys by sugar was really interesting. It almost put a little bit of a weird and a fear factor behind it. Although once you see Sugar, you already know that she's not nothing to really be worried about. And then it's the island of passion, and you got women stabbing men, so it's like a whole bunch of love and a whole bunch of connections and relationships. It's also a tourist place, and you already know it's probably how he made a bunch of money on Dressrosa, getting people into certain underground businesses, and word travels. It definitely felt like the genre changed in One Piece, like almost in a weird way of like a fantasy mixed with like a mafia or a mob boss type show. Then you had Dofi set up with the card generals and Diamante, Pika, Treble, and then the other members in the family. And then one of the big plots was also the flare fruit, Ace's devil fruit left behind, and that Doflamingo got a hold of, which was pretty nuts, because that automatically meant, yeah, Luffy about to go over there and try to get that devil fruit. And speaking about the Colosseum, I'm not gonna lie, the Colosseum I did not really care for. I feel like it was a little bit way too dragged on. It felt like an excuse to extend certain parts that really I just didn't care for. You did have characters that had stories, backstories, and reasons for being in the Colosseum, but I kind of knew off appearance and kind of the way they were introduced, they're really only going to be probably relevant for this arc. I don't see them being relevant post that. And that's exactly what happened, especially at the end of the arc where they all come together. Bartolomeo was definitely supposed to be the standout, as he's basically just a Luffy groupie, fanboy of the Straw Hats. His design was like kind of cool, but also kind of odd at the same time. It's also where we met Rebecca, who to me was a character that I was kind of looking forward to seeing the conclusion to, but the conclusion of what we actually got wasn't really much to write home about. And then you got Cavendish, who also made his debut. He was okay. Not really much for me to write home about personally. I just didn't really see anything that interested me with his character. I'm not sure if he's gonna pop up anytime soon in other arcs. He doesn't really feel like he would. Yeah, sticking to the Colosseum, might as well go over who actually and the flare fruit. Sabo made his return. Definitely left field. Did not expect him to come in. Even narratively, I didn't really see the point, although I kind of like it. The final battle in the Colosseum of Rebecca, Diamante, Jesus Burgess, and then Sabo was more so just a chase for the fish that was holding the flare fruit, which Sabo got a hand of. And Sabo being back is, I'm not really sure how to feel about it, because it's weird because Ace is gone. He really just feels like an Ace replacement, because he's not that different from Ace in terms of personality, although he does feel a little bit more mature, which I guess that's kind of the point of what Ace was, especially when he came in Alabasta. But I'd be lying if I said that I was mad to see him or disappointed. Even like from a narrative standpoint, I was just hyped to see Sabo, because we also means we're gonna see more of the Revolutionary Army, which I'm interested in seeing them, because Dragon's there. Dragon, who he might be the most least foreshadowed character ever. When he shows up, I feel like I'm never gonna see him again. And I don't know what his power is. Apparently he's strong, but I don't know. He's just a mystery. And that was definitely something I noticed in Dressrosa, just the amount of different parties that were affiliated. Marines, of course, Luffy, Straw Hats, the citizens of Dressrosa, the Revolutionary Army, Blackbeard pirates with Jesus Burgess, and then of course the Doflamingo family. It was so many conflicting and just so many storylines in this big web that we just got. And I think it was done really well. I don't know how Oda handled this. Apparently it's like a year or 2 long arc. I feel like I should get accustomed to. And speaking of the other parties, we got Fujitora making his debut. Fujitora is usually my second favorite Marine behind Kuzan, aka Aokiji. His devil fruit power is beast with the gravity control, and he's a swordsman. Even like his purple gear that he has on is cool. Everything about Fujitora really makes him set apart from the other admirals, because he seems more endearing and more caring about the citizens and even seeing the goodness in other pirates. And he definitely doesn't seem as strict as someone like an Akainu who seems like he just doesn't like anything that goes against the law, anything that's against the Marines. So I appreciate Fujitora being there as like the good Marine, and he also helped in kind of letting Luffy somewhat semi-escape. So Fujitora is one of my favorite characters. Another surprise faction that I didn't expect at all was freaking CP0. They don't really reveal much about themselves. We know they work for the government. We know Lucci was part of CP9. And then was shown at the end that I guess Lucci is a part of CP0 now. And these dudes look like they have some weird bodies. Because first of all, they're tall as hell. One of them looked at least 10 feet tall. And they wearing all white. So I already know that they're not playing with nothing. So that's another faction. Hopefully we get some lore or some characterization into like the difference between CP9 and CP0. And we got a character, Bellamy. Bellamy was someone I never thought I was gonna like, but I still don't really like him. Don't get it twisted. I don't think he's cool. But Bellamy had like an odd character change. He still was loyal to Luffy up until the end. But he at least respected Luffy. He gave Luffy his respect. And I feel like Luffy kind of paid tribute to him, because I swear one of those moves felt like in Bounce Man, which spoiled for that. In Bounce Man, it felt like he kind of gave a tribute to Bellamy. But the character change for someone like him, I didn't expect. I kind of liked it. It was a little different. It's something I found from a writing standpoint kind of clever from Oda. It definitely felt like he split up the Straw Hats in terms of who was going to be important for this arc, since it was going to be such a huge arc. He took Sanji, Nami, Chopper, Brook, pretty much put them in the background, even though Sanji was set up to have something by the end of this arc to look forward to. Sanji was more so of on the boat protecting those guys rather than being actually in Dressrosa, other than just him being a simp for Viola, which, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I can't blame him on that one, because look at it. But Sanji, I feel like, you know, he might actually do something big in the next big arc, because I'm in the middle of Zoro right now, and this is the best I've ever seen Sanji. But with Zoro, Robin, and the crew that we had that was going up against the battle in Dressrosa, it was definitely good seeing them have their moments. Although I feel like Robin could have been used more. That's been one of my main gripes ever since in this lobby. I just wish Robin was used more in a combat sense, because I mean, from a story standpoint for her character, it ain't really much else you can do with her, because she's kind of completed. So I wish she has something, you know, to at least look forward to in an art, like a fight or something, because she has a cool double fruit power, and she's one of my favorite characters, so that's kind of what I've been looking for. Nah, break it down into the main card. I want to talk about Rebecca and Kairos versus Diamante, the whole story of Diamante while Dolphy was going crazy and having the king kill the kingdom and all these other people with the string fruit. Diamante was the one that killed Rebecca's mama with a pistol. And then I really anticipated it was going to be Rebecca being the one to take him out, or at least, you know, Rebecca and Kairos have like a double team attack or something and they're taking him out, especially in that field of flowers that her mom was resting at. I'm like, man, this is just made for her to finally get this moment. And all that time that we spent building up to Kairos, who was the toy that was following, taking care of her, and he's a noble warrior in Dressrosa. It's like, okay, this is her moment, but it didn't happen. It was more of a focus on Kairos than it was her, especially once he got released and he got his true form back. And in the final battle, she played more of a background support role. Once she got hit that one time, it was pretty much Kairos taking over. Robin was there being a little bit of support, even though she helped and assisted with things that he couldn't do that were kind of surrounding the 1v1. But other than that, it was more of a focus on Kairos, who I do like, but I wanted Rebecca to kind of get that moment. And Diamante was okay. He's definitely not someone I will remember. He's only gonna be memorable because really how he looks. And his double fruit of being able to make things like really hard, like steel, and basically being able to turn anything he has on him into a weapon was okay, but I don't know, I feel like it could have been handled better. Frankie versus Senor Pink, I did not think I was gonna like as much. First of all, Senor Pink's outfit is trash. He's dressed like a baby, but once you get the backstory as to why he's dressed like that, I gotta give him some respect on that. That takes some real guts to do that, especially for his fallen wife. All love and respect to Senor Pink. And then Frankie, they said it was a hard-boiled battle. I really do not know what that means. I guess it's like a manly thing. It definitely seemed like they were like delinquents, so this one was pretty cool. It felt like a battle between grapplers and a fighting game more than anything. They didn't dodge or throw any techniques. They just took as hard a shots as they could, and whoever was left standing won. So definitely some manly shit. It was pretty cool. Okay, now when it comes to Usopp, I was liking him. I was really liking where his character progression was going as like the human character who's gaining bravery over the journey. I'm really starting to get sick of it, because dude, how many times I gotta hear him crying, whining, bitching, moaning, complaining about everything wherever they're at from the start of the arc all the way until whatever point he needs to get brave, that's when he all of a sudden wants to actually show progression. It's getting annoying. I mean, it's clearly showing that it hasn't stopped. I'm not saying he doesn't have to be scared no more, or he has to be this tough badass. But damn, I mean, the minute Usopp steps on an island, it's like they have him yelling and crying, and it just gets too much at times. But he did play a big role. He saved the toys, and he helped the fairies with Robin in saving them, and he became the hero that they saw him out to be when he first introduced himself. And with him doing that, he actually got the biggest mini bounty that Doflamingo put on people, with a 5-star bounty like he's in GTA or something. And that was his highlight moment. That was what he did. And from the looks of it, I believe he got observation haki, so that's pretty good for him. He's a sniper, he gonna need that. So at least you know Usopp did what he normally does, which is like the bare minimum for his character at this point. But hopefully going forward, like, he kind of cuts down on the crying. That's just getting a little too much. But on to the real badass of the Straw Hats, my boy Zoro showed out yet again in Dressrosa. He had the fight with Pika, which, look, there's no like depth or relationship between these two. They have a couple similarities. They're the second strongest, or the strongest among their captain's crew. They stand out. They have a presence, even though Pika's voice is ass. I don't like that. But Zoro and them, he had a spectacle fight. The do-rag black suit, it might be one of my favorite Zoro fits, is the all black suit. Then he had the all black do-rag this time. Oda definitely good switch up with the all black do-rag. And he was using armament haki on his swords, making them black blades. This was just a cool ass fight. There's not really much I can say other than that. And him being able to cut Pika, who's all stone, I feel like that's a big feat for Zoro, no pun intended. And then he had a little moments with Fujitora where he was kind of like, you know, are they gonna fight? They might clash or something, which they somewhat clash, but I feel like that's just a bad matchup because of that gravity. But Zoro was able to still withstand the gravity that was being pushed onto him, still dealt out an attack to even Fujitora was like, nah, this is a beast right here. Like, this dude, you know, he might be a problem in the future. So Zoro just doing gold things. He did exactly what I expected him to do. I can't wait to see him after some of these big arcs that I'm currently in, because I feel like in the next one he's probably not really gonna be there. So that was cool that he got a lot of stuff to do in this one. Speaking of which, I kind of want to talk about Kanjuro and Kinemon. Kinemon looking for Kanjuro the whole way. He's been looking for him since Punk Hazard finally found him in Dressrosa. And very Japanese aesthetic I've noticed between these two. Obviously, one is a samurai. The other one is more so like one of those artists. I cannot think of it right now, so excuse me if I don't remember it. One of the artists that like to paint and draw like those historical Japanese paintings. And he's able to bring all his paintings to life, which is really cool. And really, once Kinemon finds Kanjuro, I feel like I've noticed that they've really been building up Wano a lot. Like, they've been trying to find other people, and they're trying to go back to their homeland of Wano. Momonosuke is really treasured now, and then they really love Zoro. Like, I've noticed that that's their boy. Like, they be like, yeah, like that's I'm talking about real swordsman shit. He might be one of the shining characters, or like one of the forward characters in Wano, because Wano seems like, with what I've seen in Ryuma and Thriller Bark, because he's from there, it must be some like Japanese influenced island to where it's gonna be like very warrior based, especially with one of the characters I met in Zo. I'm pretty excited to get to it. But the characters that made this arc peak for me, Law and Doflamingo, with Luffy included. Law and Doflamingo, dude, the backstory in how and why they hate each other, and why Doflamingo, first of all, wanted to get rid of Law in the first place. Crazy, because he wanted that OP no Mi fruit and the immortality that comes with learning it. And then you got Corazon, who was a brother to Dofi, who is also a marine that was in hiding in disguise in his own brother's underground syndicate. And really, I feel like he knew Dofi at some point was going to try to kill him once he found out. And then they go on this island, and then you meet Virgil. You find out like Virgil's backstory before Punk Hazard, which makes Punk Hazard hit even more. And then Virgil assisted in the death of Corazon. And Corazon meant so much to Law, because even his flag, some of the shirts that he wears with his logos on them, the hearts that's on them, the hearts pirates, it's crazy how much is in that with Law, like how much he meant to him as a kid. And then Law's backstory was tied in as well. First of all, the way that Oda strung their backstories together, starting with Law, then transitioning into it with Corazon, then finishing it with doflamingo, man, that might be some of the best writing I've ever seen Oda do in this almost 1,000 chapter spree that I'm going on. Because we got Law's just sad backstory of losing his parents. They were doctors. He had a bright future ahead of him that he really could have been with a doctor. And now you fast forward and you go to Dolphy's backstory to where he had everything solved for him. Celestial Dragon, his dad made the decision of like, we want to be humans. We want to be able to live amongst other people, like regular people. And then that didn't work out in a weird way. I kind of see where Dolphy coming from, because like, dad, like we had it made and you threw it away. You know, he was a demon as a kid, because dude shot his own dad in the back of his head while his brother was holding his dad, hugging him, which is like, yo, I don't know how they come up with this backstory, but this might be one of the best backstories I've ever watched and read. And one of my favorite moments is definitely the declaration that Dolphy had when he was strung up with his dad and his brother hung up to the wall, and he's just talking about how much he's going to get back at these people when he's freed, and he's gonna kill them all, and he's gonna do all of this. And it's like, you see the difference in like, yo, Dolphy is really about it. And he got hockey and conquers hockey at a young age, which you saw even in that backstory. Like, he wants to conquer things. He wants to be a ruler, while Corazon and Law just want to be able to help people. And Dolphy's string fruit, you wouldn't think that strings would look this cool and this swaggy, but man, he pulls it off and he looks utter savagely with it. It's amazing. 5 out of 5 5-star backstory from Oda. That's my favorite story in all of One Piece. Now, it sucks Law got his ass whooped a lot in that Dolphy fight. The fight overall, with Law, Luffy, and Doflamingo, that was pretty damn good. There was a couple moments I'm like, man, it could be a little better, but overall, amazing fight. Definitely think that it was really impactful. Law got cut up, and also one thing that I found interesting was the fact that Law is a D. Yeah, he was bound to fight Dolphy, and I wonder if that's gonna mean anything with him and Luffy in the end, because it feels like they basically gonna be the ones opposing gods, quote unquote. So the whole Law and the secret of the D is something I can see being big in the future. Luffy got an upgrade in the fight with Gear 4. It looks really just odd. I mean, he's definitely getting a power boost, but he also just looks goofy as hell. Like, I mean, Dolphy did laugh at that nigga. He was letting him know, like, yo, I don't know if I'm supposed to take you seriously or not, but clearly he should have, because once Gear 4 came out, Dolphy stood no chance. He had his moment with Off-White, evolution of his devil fruit. Other than that, Luffy pretty much took over. So Luffy in this arc, I did like what he was doing. I like how he played off a Law. I give him a thumbs up in this one. But Doflamingo definitely was the star from the beginning to the end of this entire thing. The lead up and the chase to get him was something, because we had to go through a couple things to reach him at first, but then when we do fight him the first time on the island, it gets crazy with Fujitora and Law, then all the way up to the build up to where Luffy and Law finally reach Doflamingo. Special. It's special. I mean, Doflamingo's my favorite villain in One Piece. I'm gonna just say it now, one of my favorite villains of all time. Dude is dripping. I don't care what nobody say, other than the pants. The pants, them capris, bro. Why didn't he just give him long pants, man? You could have kept the loafers, but now I gotta see his ankles, his hairy legs. Like, come on now. Like, all you had to do was give him pants. Look at his pre-time skip somewhat with the all red and the pink. That was fire. Why couldn't you just carry the mission over? But anyways, Doflamingo is easily the best villain so far. From the laugh, the power, the story, the reasoning as to why he's doing things, him being completely evil. If you're a One Piece fan, you already know why he's the GOAT. I don't even really need to know what to say anymore. I mean, the dude, he did in one arc what a lot of characters fail to do in multiple, especially a villain. So he alone is one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite arcs in One Piece. It's top 2. That's my thoughts on Dressrosa. I pretty much covered everything that I gave a fuck about, but I definitely an arc that I'm gonna forever remember. This gonna be a measuring stick for elite arcs in One Piece going forward, because Marineford just hits a little different. Something about that arc is just special. But I got Zoe and Whole Cake. That's gonna be the next bunch coming up, and from what Zoe is providing me, I'm really intrigued as to how all this is gonna play out, because there's a lot of shit going on.
ようこそ逆さまの世界へ。